Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. This is Jeff checking in. My last couple of videos on YouTube, in addition to a pronunciation video, which covers the word inferred, which is a great word for practice because it has a short I sound, it has some R sounds, and it has a voiced final sound, all sounds that can be a little bit difficult in English. So I encourage you to check out that video. I also have a couple videos up about IELTS writing. Basically, again, I used to be an IELTS examiner for speaking and writing tests, and a lot of students come to me with questions about the tests. So I've posted a couple videos in which I analyze two essays. I did not write the essays. It's more they're given to me. I reviewed them. I said, hey, these essays look pretty good. Let's talk about them. So you can kind of get an idea of what does an essay that scores around an 8 or a 9 on IELTS, what does it actually look like? Because there's lots of writing online that does not actually, honestly, it doesn't deserve to get an 8 or a 9. There's a lot of bad information out there, a lot of essays that are poorly written, even on some prominent sites. So basically check out those videos. They include essays that I think would score really well. But just to give a couple of quick tips about how I would approach IELTS writing, I'm going to be focusing more on task 2, in which you have to write an essay. This is because general students, academic students, the structure is very similar for task 2, whereas for task 1 it's a little bit more unique if you're taking the general test or the academic test. So firstly, let's talk about task achievement. First thing, make sure you're answering the question. If the question asks you what are some problems in the plural, make sure that your answer is in the plural as well. This is the first thing that students often make mistakes on, is they don't actually answer the question. Or if it says discuss both opinions, make sure you look at both opinions. If it just asks you to what extent do you agree, you just need to give your own opinion. Along that same line of thought, for questions where it asks about your opinion or to what extent do you agree, I suggest having one strong opinion. And I'm not the biggest fan of those essays that say, well, in this situation I think this is important, but in this situation I think this is important, because your position can get a little bit unclear. So I think sticking to one position can help make your writing a little bit clearer and more focused. In terms of other things, transition words are important to have. So words like however, therefore, because, since, words like that, they are important. However, they're not the only way you can link paragraphs and sentences together. Try also to use phrases, try to use expressions, try also to play with the placement. Instead of putting them at the start of your word, put them at the start of your sentence. Try moving them maybe to the middle or at the end. Just some other ways you can mix up some of your transitions. Additionally, things that you'll want to watch out for vocabulary, you do need advanced terms. You have control of the test. You do have to answer a question, but you choose what examples to use, you choose how to approach it. So always try to respond to the question in a way that caters to your strengths. Always try to bring the essay, whatever you're writing, to an area where you have the most vocab, where you have the most knowledge, so that way you can use more specific terminology, more specific terms, more specific words, more specific phrases, idioms, collocations, phrasal verbs. All of them are needed. Take a look at some example rubrics online and you will see you need to have specific words, you need to have specific terminology. So make sure that you're pushing that vocabulary. It's not enough just to say things are good. You need to really push that vocab. Lastly, for grammar, not every single sentence needs to be complex. It's okay to have a couple simple sentences. There's nothing wrong with that. The bigger thing I see with grammar is that it's called error density. The amount of mistakes you have for the amount of sentences you have is too high. If you make too many grammatical mistakes, you're going to get a lower score. So try to write sentences that you know are grammatically correct. It's always good, of course, to have some complex sentences, include some conditionals, adjective clauses, adverb clauses, If you're not comfortable with those, I would suggest again studying adjective clauses, noun clauses, conditionals, adverb clauses, things like that. You do need them, but not every sentence has to have them. Yeah, so those are kind of just my quick suggestions for the test. Again, advanced vocabulary, check your grammar, use different clauses, but also include simple sentences. Make sure you're answering the question correctly and completely. And transition words, use them, but don't use them too much. And also try changing where you position them. Yeah, so those are some quick tips. If you have other questions for me about IELTS or pronunciation, be sure to send me a message. But yeah, I hope you guys have a good day, have a good night, have a good afternoon, and I will see you next time.